making our way through the Algebra 1B practice exam for the semester exam. We're right at problem 25 now. If you haven't seen my other videos for the earlier problems, I'll link them below in the description so that you can access those pretty quickly. We are making great progress towards getting it finished. So remember, what we want is for this semester practice review, practice exam, to be sitting right beside you while you're taking the semester exam. So when you look at problem number 25 on the test, I want you to look at problem number 25 on the practice exam so that you can remember exactly what we did to help us get through that problem. Also, don't forget, there's extra credit. So make sure you're writing down all the things that I'm writing down so that you can be sure and get your extra credit, because who doesn't like extra credit? All right, friends, I'm grabbing my nifty highlighter because if you've seen my other videos, you know I love to add color to math here. Number 25 is a freebie. That means you're going to get credit for this answer if you just simply click this answer. So I gave you a copy of the problem and then I gave you the answer as well. So make sure that you select that. Now, if your problem happens to not be like this one, would you send me a webmail and let me know? That way I can go back, make sure you get credit for it. Okay, sounds great. Let's look at problem number 26 then. What is the simpler form of the following? Now I'm bringing over a piece of paper because I feel like I'm going to need more room than that one little box for this problem. And if you need to do it on another piece of paper, I'm totally fine with that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the term, the 3x plus 2, on the outside of the division. I'm writing like an old school division problem. Okay, then I'm going to write the first term underneath the house, but I want you to notice that I am putting a 0x in there for the term that is actually skipped, right? Where we skipped the x there. Now I'm going to ask myself, what times 3x would give me 12x cubed? That would have to be 4x squared. So I'm going to write that over the x squared term. Then I'm going to multiply. So 4x squared times 3x gives me 12x cubed. 4x squared times 2 gives me 8x squared. Now you remember back when you did division that you would subtract? We normally would subtract, but in algebra, it's easier to add and change the sign. So you'll notice that I changed the sign on the 12x cubed. I changed the sign on the 8x. So that gives me, when I add here, these cancel. This gives me negative 9x squared. I'm just skipping a line to create more space. And then you remember the good old bring down part of the division. All right, now ask yourself again, what times 3x would give me negative 9x squared? That would be negative 3x. So let's multiply. Negative 3x times 3x is negative 9x squared. Negative 3x times 2 is negative 6x. Remember, normally we would subtract, but in algebra, it's easier to add and change signs. So again, these cancel, giving me 6x. And one more bring down. So now we say, okay, what times 3x would give me 6x? That's 2. And we multiply. 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 2 is 4. And add and change signs, we get 0. So friends, there is our simpler form once we divide it. Okay, make sure though that you have your steps for this problem. Don't just put the answer there. Okay, so moving back to our page here, we've got another freebie. In fact, we've got 3 freebies in a row now, friends. If nothing else, doing the practice exam for the freebies, I think, is worth it. So make sure you get those 27, 28, and 29 all correct. Look at number 30 then. We're looking for the factored form. Okay, so factored form, we're going to write into parentheses. We're going to put an H here and an H here. We're asking ourselves what 2 numbers would multiply to give me negative 64. But add to give me 0. See, there's a missing term in there that's 0. So what two numbers multiply to give me negative 64, but add to give me 0? That's got to be negative 8 and positive 8 there. So problem number 31 wants us to solve the equation by completing the square. If you're okay with it, we'll solve without completing the square because we're going to use Desmos. So let's take a look. Remember, just like one of the problems earlier in the review, you've got to get it equal to 0 first. So that means we've got to subtract 16 from both sides. Get it equal to 0 first. Then we can use Desmos. I'm going to switch our view so you can see my Desmos calculator. Now, by the way, I'm going to link the Desmos calculator below in the description if you need it. Let's type it in, x squared. Remember, you do shift 6 to get in the exponent and then right arrow to get out of the exponent. And so I typed my equation in. Did you see what Desmos put as dots? It's telling me, hey, these are the solutions. So we're going to just type the x values. X equals negative 2. Move your cursor over here, and x equals 8 for my solutions here. Pretty simple if I use Desmos for that. Okay, let me switch our view back. We've got one more problem on this page. You're doing great. We're almost there. So number 32 asks us for what is the length of the hypotenuse of the right triangle. So hopefully you're remembering that good old Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember, the hypotenuse is the c. That's the value that's across from the side that's across from the right angle. So that's x in this case. Then I'm going to put the other values in here. 24, 16. Okay, now use your calculator to calculate these values. If you want to use Desmos, we could definitely do that. I'm going to do 24 to the caret 2 plus 16 caret 2. See how it told me that was 832? And then I need a square root. So I'm going to do SQRT, puts that square root in there, 832, and I get a decimal 28.84. If we want 28.8, whatever the answer choices lean themselves to be, that's what I would choose here. All right, friends, so that wraps up this page. We've just got one more to go. If you need to access the other videos, I've got them linked below in the description. Keep going strong. You've almost got it, and good luck on the semester exam. If there's anything I can do or questions you have, leave them in the comments below. I'll be glad to answer them.